Good morning, folks. We're starting with the scene from Starwater, video series on our website, where among other things we investigate the water found on every planet in our solar system and most of the moons. Indeed, water and liquid oceans are found on many of those moons, including Ganymede. That's nothing new, but we're now learning about the layer cake within some of those bodies and just how much water we've got. It's now May, so let's see what everyone's talking about with the planet Bonanza. On May 8th, 6 days away, just before Venus and Mercury heliocentrically oppose. They are as close as they come with Jupiter in the line with them as well. Then, May 10th, Venus and Mercury will enter perfect heliocentric opposition, as Venus and Mars are geocentrically opposed, along with the Kronos and Sun opposition, Saturn completing the significant geometry about 1 week away. Weather records are back, and the good news is nothing was modified, not one record missing. In fact, with many more added, we'll do the update we couldn't do days ago. The link to this page is found below the video in the About tab, so you can dig through more thoroughly. But for now, we want to look at the daily, monthly, and all-time records set in the US and globally. I know this misses the close calls and doesn't differentiate between a record broken by 1 degree and a record shattered, but the sample is relatively representative, and over the last 365 days we see cold records slowly creeping back and overtaking the heat, while 2014, year to date so far, shows complete dominance by the cold. Coming along with these topics, and especially after our El Nino video, the question is, when will the heat return? Climate extremes dictates that it will, and while Europe has had their heat over the winter, the Western world will see it beginning midsummer through the start of winter. Mark it down. Mark this too. Those megastorms we just watched roll through may have been Starwater events, as nearly 20 inches of rainfall in 9 hours is not something that's supposed to happen. It is indicative of the shifting atmospheric conditions, as anything else. Coming to our tropic watch, there are no current tropical storm warnings. Tapad dissipated last night, and formation intensity should be just middle of the road today, with only one moderate flare on our star yesterday. Came from the backside, not facing Earth, visible via the stereo spacecraft here. Remember, folks, we are tracking all the Uyen system candidates at the storms page of suspiciousobservers.org. Let's look to Brazil and call out a flood watch for the convergence line. That line is tough to see connected to the low just offshore to the east, but only until you pull up the precipitable water overlay. Now you see it twisting back onto the continent and drawing from the moisture bank cup by the Andes. 2 days of danger there. In the southwest Pacific, there are 2 systems mostly affecting the southern portions of Australia and the islands of New Zealand. Nothing really major. Yesterday we thought Germany would get the worst of it, but it managed to get south to the Mediterranean. Energy got going, and that's where the severe weather was. Lots of scattered cells here today, so check your local forecast tonight for the lightning. Last but not least, another easy day in the western world. Couple storms lingering in Florida, but the bigger lows are up at the Hudson Bay and west all the way to the coastline. Enjoy the relative calm. Solar wind telemetry shows calming speed and density as geomagnetic instability fades away completely. The solar flares are still low, but the experts expect that to change today, and I just might agree. Sunspot groups facing Earth right now are a story of progress. A large group crested with baby spots out ahead of it, but over the last few days that leading region has developed into a Zurich Class E with a baby of its own out front. Coming to the intensitygram and magnetogram for still images, we're still looking at minor mixing potential in the back, wouldn't hold my breath, and still not a terrible mix up front, but the sunspot convergence line is left at the larger portion, and remember, the babies on the right are spreading relative to the parent region, not the star itself. Spells long quiet punctuated with rage. Our magnetic connection to the sun isn't far away, so those spots are our top solar watch. Just a couple other notes. That minor filament pop from yesterday is expected by NOAA to deliver a CME impact that I don't think will be anywhere near this level or of any concern. We might not even notice it. The coronal hole facing Earth is as weak as they come, so we couldn't raise the earthquake watch anymore last night. Kept it just above average at B- range, and the moderate uptick continues with a 6-pointer in Indonesia and 1 in Japan moments before this video processed. Also have activity in the East Pacific. It's May 2nd. Current conditions and shots of our star to close. Eyes open. No fear, it's 6:35 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.